Welcome to day number 15 of the 30-day AI Automation Pro Challenge. The challenge where you become an AI Automation Pro in just 30 days, no matter where you started. Guys, we already achieved quite a lot. Yesterday, we learned how to automate Google search with n8n, and today we will further develop that into something truly useful. I will show you how you can set up an entire workflow that researches people for you and finds their LinkedIn profiles and then stores them in a Google Sheet. This is an absolute core skill that you just need to know about. Because of that, I show you how to do it, especially if you go into automated lead generation and research. There's no way around. People always want the LinkedIn profiles. And because of that, let's waste no further time, jump to my screen and make it happen. Alright, as you can see, I already started a complete fresh canvas. We will build that workflow now from scratch together, and then we will of course also test it out. As always, I give it a name right away. We call it 30-day LinkedIn Finder. Okay, I just recommend that because after a while you have a lot of workflows, and then it just helps if they have clear names. And I will also put on my glasses now because my eyes are not the best. All right, so let's get started. What do we want to achieve? I want to build a workflow that can read a Google Sheet, extract all the names and cities that are stored there, then research the names to find their LinkedIn profiles, and whatever is found should be also stored in the same Google Sheet. And because of that, we will begin with setting up the Google Sheet. So here we are at the fresh Google Sheet. We give it a name list 30-day challenge. Call that however you want. Also the sheet we just call name list. All right, and then we have to set up some columns. We start with name, then we follow with city, and then in column C we use LinkedIn. Okay, so now we make this a little bit bigger, that we have enough space, especially the LinkedIn URL is probably a little bit longer. Then we make this fat, and what I also recommend is just ticking that one so that it stays within the cell, and also that it is always aligned vertically, so the writing. This is just some nice polish, but I just like it that way. And now we will enter some example names so that we already have some data. Of course, I will include myself. I do no longer live in Munich, but I think most of the provided content in the internet will still be found in Munich, so we enter that city. Then I will also enter my ex-business partner. Greetings to Alex, great guy. He's also living in Munich. And another friend of mine is Patrick. Also greetings to Patrick, great guy. He's also living in Munich. And the goal of that workflow is now basically finding the LinkedIn profile of all these people. So this is it at the moment for the Google Sheet. So we can go back now to the workflow. And here we will start now with a trigger as usual. And for that example, we will go with trigger manually. So this just means we can start it whenever we want. And then the first thing we need to do is reading the Google Sheet. So we go here to Google Sheet. We select that and we go to, where is it? Get rows in sheet, that one. Our account is already connected. This is great. And then we have to select here the right Google Sheet. Here it is, name list 30-day challenge. And also down here, the correct sheet is name list. All right. And then we don't want to apply any filters. We just want to get out everything. So we go back to the canvas, we fire it up, let's see what happens, and we have 3 items. When we click on that, you see we have all 3 names together with the information that I wrote into that column. In the next step, we want to apply a so-called loop. And a loop just means that we apply the same action for every item that there is. And we have 3 different items. Because of that, we will run the loop 3 times. You will see that in a second. But first we have to apply an intermediate step. So we go here to an element that is called split out. And then we have to decide which elements we want to have available when we run the loop. So you will see in a second what this is for. But of course we go with the name and we go with the city. Okay, so you just drag that in. And now when we apply that, you will see what happens. now we just have these data points. This is exactly what we want and what we want to apply the loop to. Great, so now it's time for the loop. So we click here on that plus, we search for loop. Here it is, batch size 1 is okay. That means that for every item the loop runs once. And that's all. We don't have to select anything here. And you see that there's already like a default loop. Okay, and as I explained in the very beginning at the basic chapter, a loop just executes that for every item there is. Okay, so this is just a placeholder. We can just delete it. We also delete that. And now we have to build what should happen within the loop. And the first thing that should happen is, of course, our Google search. And you probably remember the workflow from yesterday where we set up the Google search. If you don't know at that point how you automate Google search with n8n, make sure to watch yesterday's video. There we set up exactly that element. And now we will just make a copy of that element, copy. We go back to our workflow and we paste it in here. So now we have it available. And then we do the following. We just hit here play so that we have data available. And then we connect that to our HTTP request. I will sum it up again real quick, but as I said, I explained that already yesterday. This is our automated Google search. We set up a custom search API at the Google Cloud Console. We set up a search engine and we can use it now here via HTTP request. So here is our API key. There is the ID of the search engine. And at the very end, we always have to add our query, what we actually want to search at Google. So we delete that. For now, we make this a little bit bigger so that you actually see what is happening. And here in the end, we have to add now our search query. And what we do now is the following. We start with the name, we drag that in. Then we use a plus. Then we take the city. And then we apply another plus. And then we write here linked in. Okay. And at Google, we will search now for exactly that. The name, the city, and also LinkedIn, okay, because we want to find the LinkedIn URL of these people. And this is all that we have to do for now, okay, so we go out here and then we can also fire that up because we want to have data available. So we click here play, it takes a couple of seconds, and here are our Google search results. When we go in, you see this is exactly what we wanted. We have here the search results showing up. All right, the next thing what we need is a large language model checking our results. So we click here on the plus, then you go to AI, to OpenAI, and then to message a model. And then you see you have such an element here. I already prepared that, so I will just paste it in. No worries, I provide you the entire workflow. And I will also show you what we do now here inside. It just is a little bit faster if I don't have to write everything here within the tutorial. So we connect that, and then we can have a look what is happening inside. As you see, I went with GPT-4o. We have a user prompt, a system prompt, and of course also a assistant prompt. And in the user prompt, we will basically provide two things. This is the search query used to get the following results. So here we provide the search query. Okay, so we go to our HTTP request, that one. And there you find exactly that element, search terms, Dominik Felber, Munich, LinkedIn. So this is basically what we searched, and we will provide that to the large language model. Okay, and then down here, this is the organic Google search content that showed up. Okay, so here we have to provide the actual content, and we do that by going down here where it says items. Okay, so you want everything from here on. We pull that over exactly to that spot, and then you see something very important. You see, right now it will not work. There's just object, object, object. You don't see anything. Okay, so we have to apply a little trick here, and I show you now what we do. We make this a little bit bigger so you see what I actually do. I prepared a little command and I will provide that to you as well. No worries. You need exactly that command, JSON stringify. Why? What we have here are objects, as you can see, but what we need here to provide the LLM are strings, and strings is just plain text. And that command stringifies turns into text anything we place within these brackets. And now we can do the following. We go back to, where is it? Items, here it is. And then we drag that over and you put it between these two inner brackets. Okay, and now you see the magic happened. Now all the data is available for the LLM. Okay, and then of course we delete that one. We don't need it anymore. But just keep that trick, okay? Whenever you see this object problem, you just apply that command. JSON point stringify, and within here you place the actual content. Okay, that's it for the user prompt. And now we come to the system prompt. As I said in the tutorial series, I already mentioned and explained several times where we always use 3 prompts. The first is just providing the input. The second is providing the general instruction, what the LLM should do. And the last one is just making sure that we output the right structure. So let's have a look at the system prompt. You see it's not too big. Role, you are an expert in finding people's LinkedIn profile by looking at organic Google search content. Provided, you always get provided the exact search query used to get the content, the upper one, which contains the name of the person you are looking for. Task. Your task is to look carefully at the organic search results provided and to extract the person's LinkedIn account URL. How to solve your task? Always start by looking at the entire provided content, exactly that one. Analyze carefully which is most likely the right LinkedIn URL. A person's LinkedIn URL always starts like that, and then here the typical structure of a LinkedIn URL. Only output a URL if you are at least 90% sure you got the right person's profile. If your results don't meet the 90% confidence threshold, just output NA, not available. Output structure. Only output valid JSON and always use the same JSON key name, LinkedIn URL, and then the actual URL. Important, never make up information, never just guess, always respect the confidence threshold. All right. Then in the assistant prompt, we just enter basically the same ending that we want, exactly that JSON structure. And down here we go with simplify output and output content as JSON. That's it. Okay, and now we can also test this. So we hit here play, you see the loop starts spinning, and as an output we get hopefully a LinkedIn URL. Let's have a look. This already looks fantastic. So this is a LinkedIn URL, and the next thing we need to do is store the result. So we click here to Google Sheets, here it is, and then we go to, where is it? Update row in sheet, because we want to update an existing row. Then we select here the right sheet and also the right name of the sheet. And then you see it already fetched the right column names. And this is also important column to match on. So which is now the data point that will be used to match where the LinkedIn URL should be stored. Okay, so we click here. Then we select name, and then we need here the exact name that we use for the matching. So we go back to the loop and we select the name, we put it in. Then city, we don't do anything with that column, so we can just delete it. And here where it says LinkedIn, we have to store the results. So we just drag that in here. Okay, and this is it. This is all we have to do. And then we go out, and then we can close the loop until here. And now we are already done. Okay, so now we set up the entire loop, and for each item this loop will execute. It will Google the name, it will extract and analyze here with the LLM, and then it will store it in Google Sheet. So we can save that now, and if we did everything correctly, we will get our results. So let's check out the Google Sheet again. You see we have our names here, and if we did everything correctly, when we run the loop, we will have 3 LinkedIn URLs if these URLs are found. So let's just test it out. We hit here execute workflow. Now it starts executing. You see the loop starts spinning. It is researching the first name, then the second, you know, this is going up now. You will see now it's the 3rd round, and this is basically it. All right, the workflow is done. Let's go over to the Google Sheet and check out the results. Oh, that's interesting. Myself was not found, probably because I do not any longer live in Munich, and because of that, I didn't found my LinkedIn. Could be, but it found my good friend Alex. Let's check out if it is the right guy. Yes, this is Alex. Greetings to Alex. And also it found the LinkedIn of my good friend Patrick, and this is also him. So it found 2 of 3 people. Funny that it did not found myself, but as I said, as we also included the city in the search query, this is probably no longer present in my LinkedIn. All right, so this is the workflow that I wanted to present today. You probably get the idea at that point. You could make the workflow research any other data point and then make the LLM analyze it and store it in the Google Sheet. But just this entire process is already super important. This is a core skill. You need to have that because companies oftentimes want AI automations that research people or enrich their CRMs or find out company information. And you can build such automations by just further developing this little core workflow. All right, this is it for today, for day number 15 within the 30-day AI Automation Pro Challenge. And tomorrow we keep going and I will show you another workflow that allows you to analyze in a pretty similar way company pages and a workflow that does even more research in a completely automated way. So stay tuned. We speak tomorrow. Cheers, Dom.